Dang, NBC.
Conference that was intended in part to settle doubts about his candidacy.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Joe Biden officially stepped down. We're going to read and find out what's going on. And actually, he kind of predicted this not too long ago as to why he could possibly be stepping down. And surprisingly, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. And with him getting COVID, I know we're aware of some of the health issues that have been going on with him. Probably plays into the reason that he stepped down. But we're going to talk about it and read his letter here and see what he said. All right. Oh, man, this is going to make a lot of people upset. Joe R. Biden Jr. He says, "My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation.
Stop the cap.
Today, America has the strongest economy in the world.
Stop the cap.
We made historic investments in rebuilding our nation and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We opened the borders and allowed tons of illegal immigrants to come into the oh, wait, sorry, that's not in there. My bad, y'all. I missed it. Hold on a second. Affordable. I thought that was in there. Affordable health care to a record number of Americans. There we go. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today." Man, this sounds like he's about to resign. This is emotional. "I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We protected and preserved our democracy, and we revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world." I talk like this. "It has been a great honor. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek reflection, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude for all those who worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America." All right, that is Joe Biden. Sad to see. Not really. But he's out of the race. Right now, a lot of y'all may be wondering or asking what could have caused this or why could this have happened? Well, Joe Biden spoke on this a few days ago, actually, before he even said he wasn't going to be running anymore. So check this out.
Is there anything that you would look to, you personally, not anybody else, not other pundits, not even perhaps family members, that you would look to say, if I see that, I will reevaluate?
If there had some medical condition that emerged, if the doctors came to me and said, "You got this problem, that problem."
Okay, so, well, that makes me wonder, is something going on? As y'all may or may not know, he had COVID and he's been struggling with COVID. I think Kamala Harris came out and said that he was doing a little bit better and feeling better. So I can't imagine that would be a reason that he would step down and not run for re-election. So it's interesting to hear him say that. Makes us wonder if everything we've been thinking and seeing has been true this whole time.
But
it's hard to say.
A serious mistake in the whole debate, and And look, when I originally ran, you may remember it, I said I was going to be a transitional candidate. And I thought that I'd be able to move from this, just pass it on to someone else. But I didn't anticipate things getting so divided. And quite frankly, I think the only thing age brings is a little bit of wisdom. And I think I've demonstrated that I know how to get things done
and dementia
for the country, in spite of the fact that we were told we couldn't get it done. But there's more to do, and I'm reluctant to walk away from that.
All right, so there's Joe Biden saying, hey, I'm still good to go, y'all. Times have changed. All right, so let's check out NBC News and see what they're talking about here. I see some of y'all calling in already. We'll get to the calls here shortly.
A sharp turn for history. As President Biden announced at 1:46 p.m., there would be no last campaign for him. I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Then, in a separate statement, the president embraced his vice president. I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. A move that attempts to blunt any effort to open the nomination process before the August convention.
All right, there it is. So Kamala is in. Congratulations to her. Y'all have to let me know what you think about Kamala being endorsed by Biden. Was there someone else you would rather have? Do you think it's a good fit? I'll be interested to see what y'all think. Doesn't necessarily matter to me. Kamala being in isn't going to change who I plan on voting for, but congratulations to her nonetheless.
Effort to open the nomination process before the August convention. The president had praised Harris in a press conference that was intended in part to settle doubts about his candidacy.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president.
Oh, no. Why did they do that? Come on, y'all. NBC News, you couldn't pick a different clip. That's dirty. They just did. I wouldn't even do Joe Biden that dirty. Why did they pick this clip out of all the clips they could have shown? Come on, man. Dang, NBC.
Conference that was intended in part to settle doubts about his candidacy.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
The vice president offered thanks to the Bidens and made her intentions clear. I will do everything in my power to unite the Democratic Party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump. Reaction tonight from former President Barack Obama, who called Joe Biden a patriot of the highest order, describing the decision as a testament to Joe Biden's love of country. Praise from Bill and Hillary Clinton for his extraordinary career of service, while highlighting their worry about the threat posed by a second Trump term.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the Clinton statement here shortly, but it's interesting to see how they're weighing in on this. Okay, here we go. Let's finish with the video.
After a half-century of public life, his political brand was forged by being underestimated.
I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
The president had tried to save his shot at a second term.
And I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job.
But that did not quiet the pressure after that June debate performance.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
an extraordinary rupture followed, a chorus of rejection that
NBC
grew louder
did him
for
dirty.
weeks.
I think a new generation, it's time for a new generation to try to heal the party and heal the country.
The president is not capable of delivering the message in an effective way.
I don't think he should stay in the race.
Dang. Threw him under the whole bus.
Kelly, what comes next for the president?
Well, the president says he will address the nation sometime this week, and aides say that is depending on his recovery from COVID. He remains at his Delaware beach house. The vice president has been at her official residence in Washington, and aides say she and the president have spoken multiple times today. Lester?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell starting us off. Thanks. Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press, joins me now. Just Friday, the president said once he's over COVID, he'd be back on the campaign trail. What changed the calculus, Kristen?
Well, Lester, this moment has been building since the debate and really reached a fever pitch when Democratic leaders from Nancy Pelosi to Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, privately told President Biden they didn't think he could beat Donald Trump and that he could jeopardize Democrats' chances at holding on to the Senate and taking back the House. But it went beyond Democratic leadership. People who support Joe Biden were protesting outside of the White House, calling on him to pass the torch. Ultimately, Lester, the pressure became too great.
And it's funny because someone mentioned in the comments when the other side was saying it, well, they were haters. They just can't stand Joe Biden because he's going to do all these great things. Now everything comes to light, and it looks like we finally found something that Democrats and Republicans can agree on, and that's that Biden should not be running for president. Does that mean he shouldn't be in the White House? I don't know. Maybe he can make it another 3-4 months. We'll see.
Throws his backing to the vice president. How competitive is she? What data do we have?
Well, Lester, Vice President Harris matches up against former President Trump very similarly to President Biden, though some polls show her doing a little bit better. In our most recent NBC News poll, Mr. Trump leads Mr. Biden 45-43, while Trump leads Vice President Harris 47-45. The big question is, how does she fare in blue wall states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania? Does she put states like Georgia back in play? Bottom line, Lester, I've been talking to Democrats who feel like once she reintroduces herself to the American public, they expect her poll numbers to go up. Lester.
All right, Kristen Welker.
Oh, man. Y'all, I want to give my thoughts on this so much. I think she's going to get absolutely cooked by Trump in this one. You don't see a candidate like this in this way normally making it into the White House. It's just not the way it works. There's too much uncertainty. She still hasn't been endorsed and been praised by some of her contemporaries. It's not going to happen. And then when it comes down to policies and when it comes to debate and to what they stand on and experience, Trump is just going to absolutely demolish Kamala. I know she might be close to him on the popular vote, but we're going to be reminded of that as soon as they both get on the stage, which is going to be, man, box office for sure.
Thank you. And we're hearing from Vice President Harris tonight, thanking Joe Biden for his endorsement. But the question remains, will she get the full backing of Democrats? Here's Hallie Jackson.
The spotlight tonight turning to Vice President Kamala Harris, one of President Biden's most vocal backers since that debate widely panned as disastrous.
It was a slow start. There's no question about that. But I thought it was a strong finish. We are looking at a president in Joe Biden who has done historic work.
Now, the president's endorsement of Harris puts her in the pole position to take the top of the ticket. Harris, in a statement today, saying in part, "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." Adding, "We have 107 days until Election Day. Together we will fight, and together we will win." In recent days, some of the president's key allies have signaled if he were to step aside, it is Harris who should get Democrats' support.
This party should not in any way do anything to work around Ms. Harris.
Congressman Jim Clyburn today publicly backing Harris, with other Democrats following suit. The exception, the party's top leaders in the House and Senate, stopping short of an endorsement, but praising the president for his service. Whether it's Harris at the top of the ticket or not, other Democrats have been speculated to be in the mix, perhaps as a running mate, including California Governor Gavin Newsom.
President Biden doesn't run. Why shouldn't we consider you a likely?
Well, I think the vice president is naturally the one lined up.
Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro, Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer, Kentucky's Andy Beshear, and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Harris, a former prosecutor who rose to become California's attorney general, was elected to the Senate in 2016 and ran for the White House 3 years later.
Ooh, y'all, when it comes to California, too, this is going to be another play. Whether it's Newsom that gets in there or Kamala Harris, I don't know. I think the jury is still out on who the nominee is going to be. But either one of these people, the state of California is just bad. Absolutely terrible. And it would be easy to point to definitely Newsom, but possibly Kamala Harris too in that case. So I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
And I feel a sense of responsibility to stand up and fight for the best of who we are.
After being selected as President Biden's running mate, she was tapped by the White House to lead the administration's response on critical issues like the root causes of the immigration crisis, coming under fire from Republicans for the White House's handling of the border and pressed by Lester on the topic in 2021.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Harris has taken on a vocal role advocating.
Is NBC right leaning? When did this happen? I'm surprised they have this much smoke for the Democratic side.
I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Harris has taken on a vocal role advocating for abortion access, slamming the GOP for its position on reproductive rights.
How dare they tell a woman what she can do and cannot do with her own body? How dare they?
How dare they?
Now a pivotal political moment for Harris and the nation.
As we mentioned, time is short. Vice President Harris is already turning to fundraising to shore up support.
That's right, Lester. Late tonight, posting a link online for people to donate, saying she will do everything in her power to bring the Democratic Party together. A clear indication of her intention from now until Election Day. Lester.
Thanks for watching.
All right, there it is. Lester Holt doing his work over there. Y'all got to let me know what you think about that in the comments. Is this the right move? Would you vote for Kamala Harris? Whatever side you're on. If not, y'all have to tell me in the comments why you think that. One more thing. So we have Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They made a statement about everything that's going on with Joe Biden dropping out and Kamala Harris now looking like she's going to be the nominee. Shout out to the Defender for posting this over on X. They say former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife, Hillary Clinton, announced their endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris for the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. Statement from President Clinton and Secretary Hilton Clinton. Or, I'm sorry, Secretary Hillary Clinton is what I meant to say. Good Lord. President Biden has capped his extraordinary career of service with the presidency that has lifted America out of unprecedented pandemic, created millions of jobs, and rebuilt a battered economy. Oh, wow. Okay. Strengthened our democracy and restored our standing in the world. By any measure, he has advanced our founders' charge to build a more perfect union and his own stated goal of restoring the soul of our nation. We join millions of Americans in thanking President Biden for all he has accomplished, standing up for America time and again, with his North Star always being what's best for the country. We are honored to join the president in endorsing Vice President Harris, and will do whatever we can to support her. We've lived through many ups and downs, but nothing has made us more worried for our country than the threat posed by a second Trump turn. Oh, Lord. I'm still waiting to hear what happened the first time. Somebody have to tell me in the comments. They said we lived through many ups and downs, but nothing has made us more worried for our country than the threat posed by a second Trump term. Dang. He has promised to be a dictator on day one, and the recent ruling by his Supreme Court will only embolden him to further shred the Constitution. Now it's time to support Kamala Harris and fight with everything we've got to elect her. America's future depends on it. Okay, what do y'all think about Kamala Harris? I think this was a brilliant move on the Democratic side, as some of y'all are saying and seeing in the comments and in the live chat. A lot of people support this. This gives them maybe the extra boost that they lost after the debate and after the failed assassination attempt. So it'll be interesting to see once we get closer to November what happens. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Is this the right choice? Is she going to be the nominee? And could she possibly win moving forward?